For our next presenter is Łukasz Gał, who will be presenting how take your system testing to the next level. Łukasz has been working at Nokia since 2011. He started as a tester in the NetAct network verification team and then worked as a Scrum Master and took a test lead position. His next assignment was a network verification test architect, where he strengthened network verification testing strategies, processes, and a way of working. He is currently working as a NetAct solution test architect. Please welcome Łukasz.
Okay, so thank you, and also I'm very happy to be here, and I can share this topic, so which will be about the system testing level and the potential enhancement we can make there, and to increase our testing scope, increase our quality of our product, and finally have our customer happier. Okay, so the presentation will be done rather from the solution testing team perspective. So automatically it will be mainly addressed to the members of such team. But I also believe that with small adjustments, this should be valuable also for members of all other teams where the testing activities are ongoing. Okay, so maybe let's start with the agenda. So I will start with the inputs for the improvement. So what data will be needed for selecting which area should be improved and where we should put some more attention. Then go to the cooperation. So which and how we should cooperate from the system level testing perspective. Then we'll go to the test left shifting, so how to find fault area, how testing environments of the system testing teams should look like. And next topic will be EDA, so escape defect analysis, but how this should be done from system testing team. Few words about the advanced scenario, something robustness, this rainy day scenario, so not only straightforward scenarios, but something also more. And the last one, how we can continuously improve our process in our teams. Okay, so let's start with the data needed for making the improvements in our teams. To be able to select which area we should improve, which area should be a little bit enhanced in our test strategy. So we can try to do it without any data. And of course, sometimes this also will work. The actions could be successful, but of course we will have better chances that the actions will be efficient if we have any data which we can refer to. So here I put it three types of data that I recommend to have before we can start the selecting improvements in our teams. So for sure this should be production fault. So in my opinion, the most important type of data, because this will show the real quality of our product. So what we need here under this data, so for sure this should be some division on the date. So when the fault was reported, division on area of our product, so from exactly which area that the faults are coming. We can also have the division on the severity of the faults, and also informations in which of system or in which of the testing levels the fault should be found earlier, and why it was leaked to the customers. Most of this information should be already available during the import. So using our currently testing tools, testing reporting tools should be also available to have this information. The next one is the internal fault, so very similar to the previous one, but here we will check the division, the statistics about the faults reported by our team, so by the system testing team. And also here we will have the similar division, so also from which areas of our product this false came, what are the division on the severity of false dates, and also we could add some other information, for example, like if this is potential outage. So for example, if the specific issue, if we will leak to the customer, this would very major or some minor ones. And the last one is the testing coverage. So to know what areas should be testing better, should have more scope covered during our testing, we should already know how our actual testing coverage looks like. And on the next slide, I will present some ideas how we can present this testing coverage. So this will be testing coverage map. So the first one, here we can see two proposals. So this, let's name it simple subjective testing coverage map. So you can see here two examples. One is based on the testing types, and the second is based on the our areas of our product. So you can see that here the coverage is rather subjective. So for example, in this example, we have four type of the coverage. So starting with this deep green, this is very good. Then we have good, medium, and bad coverage. We can change it to for example, to have 3, and for example, to have only good coverage, the coverage where the enhancements are still needed, and not covered. So from my experience, I recommended to have here from 3 to 5 ranges of the coverage, because if we will have more, then this rather will be not valuable for us. And as this is subjective, so mainly based on our experience, based on the knowledge of our testing strategy, of our testing team, it's recommended to create such kind of maps with more than one person, or at least to have some reviews. We can also add it here the informations about the customer faults. So we can easily check later how is the feedback from the customer for the particulars area. Here I added only 2 categories, 2 ranges. So more than 10 customers faults with this lighting sign, or 1 to 5 customers faults with this bug. But the ranges also depends on your product quality, so and how many faults you are getting. And what we can take from this testing coverage map. So for sure we can easily check which areas should be at least check deeper. So for example, we see that this area 11 has bad coverage, and also we see that there is too many customers faults. So for sure we should analyze why these faults here. This is the testing should be covered also in the system level testing team. Where are the gaps? But also on the other hand, we see that here this area 4 is quite good covered by our test, but we still have some issues from the customer. So we should also to check here that if our testing is efficient, what we can do better here to avoid the customer faults. Big advantage of such kind of map is for sure that it will not require a lot of work from us. So as this is only don't have exact number of the coverage, but only is based on some ranges, it will not take too much time, as I said. And the next one is the mind map. So similar a little bit to the previous one, but here we are drawing our product with this mind map. So we can draw all the applications, all the functionalities, even the functionalities of our product, and then fill it with the proper colors. So we can easily now check where we have any gaps with the testing. But this approach is rather valuable for the smaller products, because if we will have too big product where there will be plenty of the applications or the functionality here, so there could be too much work, too much time needed to create such map and later to maintenance it. But for the smaller products, it works quite well and helps to find these gaps. To check, for example, if you would like to cover this, or this is on purpose, we are missing this in our testing scope. And the next one, this is something testing coverage map, but in the table format. So here we can see that we have exact number of the coverage. So here the most difficult part is to define this coverage and how we should do this. So here we should a little bit experiment with the formula to create such value. So what we can have here in this formula. So we could add it there how many test cases we have for the particular areas, how many automated these cases are. So we can also add some different multipliers. So for example, there will be different multiplier for test cases which are run more frequently. For example, in the regression, which is run automatically every day, and smaller multiplier for the test cases from some areas which are run, for example, only once a week, and so on. We could add here some additional points if any area was added to our exploratory testing in the previous period, or we have some testing days or some bug hunting sessions for the specific area. Similar, we can increase this coverage. For example, if we have test cases, testing scope from some specific area also in the deployment scenario. So for example, some pre-checks or post-checks after upgrading our product, and many others. So this is mainly depends on our product, on our test strategy. So what we are testing, what is valuable for us. But we need to remember that that such a map should be maintained regularly. So it's recommended, for example, to have it once a quarter, but it also depends on your product characteristic, on the release model, how often we are releasing our product to the customer, how many faults we have, and so on. So we also need to remember when we are creating this formula to select carefully the data here under this formula, because if we take something which will require a lot of work from us, for example, later in the future, for example, to checking how many test cases we have for this particular area, this could be a risk, and it would be not worth to do it. So let's try to have only data when, for example, we can generate the information with one click with some our testing reports tools and so on. Of course, we can a little bit combine these approaches. So from the first one and the second one, to not have exact number here, but only the subjective opinions or free ranges of the coverage here. And what more we have in this coverage map? So we have clear information about the customer faults from the current period and the last period. So we can easily also check what are the trends in the customer for this specific area. And also we have similar statistic for the internal faults. So also we can check how it looks in our testing. And so similar to the previous one, we can check from this testing coverage map which areas should be checked now, because the quality of the product doesn't look like we expected. So for example, this area 5, we have coverage rather bad here, and also too many customers issue. So for sure this should be checked by us. And similar this area 11. So this is quite good covered, but still too many issues from the customers. But here also in this kind of map, we can easily check, as we know that our testing resources, our time for testing is not endless. We should also carefully check and plan what we can test. So from here, we can also find this area too, where we have quite good coverage, but we are not finding too many faults. And similar, it looks like in the customer side. So the quality of the product looks okay, but our testing doesn't look efficient. So maybe we should check if we should change something, but it looks like that we can take some resources from this area and move it to the places which are now more risky. Okay, this will be all about this testing coverage. And now the cooperation. So very important, especially for the separate system testing teams. Even if we are naming some separate, we are doing work each our own. We should avoid to work as a silos. We should cooperate as much as possible with other teams. So here, this could be some developers team. This could be some any other testing teams if we have any in our organization. This should be project owners, release drivers, of course, customers if we have possibility to have contact with the customers itself. If not, then of course some customer services, customer representatives. We need to remember that we always should work as a one team, so with one goal, and rather with the culture of learning each other rather than blaming. So if we see that something is not working in one team, so it's not working very well or not as we expected, so not only blame the other team, but let's also try to learn them, try to share our experience, share our knowledge about the testing practices, what can be done better in their teams, but also learn from others. So let's check what they have the best practices. Maybe that there is something already working very well, which was let's say it's working, so it was tested. So there is no need to invent something from the beginning in our side. So if we plan to introduce any enhancement in our site, so first let's check also in other teams how this can be introduced, and maybe this already exists, and also try to find common solutions. So if we have any problem with our product, so let's try to think together to not duplicate our work, try to reuse everything. For example, if one team create some automated test cases, so maybe it would be better to take this automated test cases to our team and reuse it, not to create our own scope of this. And of course, cooperate with the customer. So not only check the current status of the quality of our product, so not only checking the faults which we are getting from the customer, not only checking pain points, but also let's try to check their future plans. So for example, what the upgrade plans are in the most important customers, and maybe adjust our testing plans in the future. Also check which of the new features are the most wanted from their site, and also adjust our testing there. So so as much as possible, try to cooperate with other teams, not separate from the rest of the organization. And the next one is the test left shifting, so also very connected with this cooperation. So I believe everyone know that generally every fault is, if it is found earlier, is cheaper to fix. So we should always try to find all the issues as soon as possible in this software development cycle. So what we can do from the system level testing point. So we could analyze our issues, so what we have reported in the past, and analyze why this is not found earlier. So for example, by the other R&D team, testing teams, or by the developers, and what is needed to find earlier. But also here, let's try work together. So try to avoid something like, okay, we have here the list of the faults that we think that this should be found earlier, and just pass the list to the other teams and please fix it in the next release. Rather, let's try to work together to have some common understanding and common agreement about all this issue. Let's also, like in this previous slide, try to learn them, and maybe even sometimes we can delegate some members from our teams for some period to the other teams. But rather not as in the role that this will be additional hands for testing and now the testing will be better, but rather something who will check their strategy and maybe find any gaps, any points that can be easily fixed, improved in their side. And also please remember that test left shifting is not only about the testing. So this is about the doing things different in future. So this could involve also some pre-study. So even before the new implementation has already started, the system testing team could take part of this in this pre-study and checking if this is really needed for the customers and so on. So always try to check what can be do better, not only testing, some maybe cooperation, also some feedback from one team to another, because maybe some faults are leaked to the next level because there was no good cooperation. And now system under test. So how our environment on which we are testing should look like. So generally, it should look like as much as possible as customers. Of course, we will be not able to simulate exactly the same these customer labs, but there are some points that we should remember during the implementation of or bringing our lab for testing. And this is very often there is the biggest difference between R&D testing team and the system level team. So this testing environment. So the system level testing team should have as much as close as possible to the customers. So please remember about the history. So this is upgrade paths. This is all the systems was installed before, because generally customers don't have the fresh installations. They have also this our product from the previous releases. Sometimes this upgrade history has more than, for example, 10 years, and many of the issues are only visible with these labs with the long upgrade paths, upgrade history, especially deployment scenarios. So also please remember about this. The next one is the customization. So here similar. So most of the customers don't use the default values. They have some changes on our system, on their system. Of course, we are not able to have all the possible customizations in our testing. So we should here a little bit prioritize this possible customization. So for example, we could use if we have any top customers, most important customers, so we can for example select a few of them and try to bring exactly the same labs including this customization in our site. If we don't have the top customers, for example all customers are equally valuable, then we can check or try to check which of the customizations are most often used by our users. Next one is load. So not only for the performance testing, but also many of the functional issues are visible and can occur only if we have load very similar to that one that is in the real life scenarios. So also, if possible, let's have our testing with some load. And users. Okay, so also we should check what type of users are used in the customer side, because most probably they will have some different user for different operations. That there will be some user which have only part of the privileges to part of the accesses to some applications, and different users will do the different things. So also let's remember about planning and preparing our testing in our scope, that we also should not take only, let's say, the super user which will have the possibility to do everything in our system. Let's rather try to have exactly the same users like our customers have. And the other products. So even if we are testing only our product, also let's check what can be connected to our product, what other things could be integrated, because even if this is not directly, we are not directly touched, also some issues could occur because only connection to these other products. So we should be at least we should at least know what exactly other products could be connected to other product, and how what the impacts are on our product. And the next one is the EDA. So the escape defect analysis for default which have leaked to the customer. So we should answer here on the question why we have not found this error. So we should here analyze the faults from the wider perspective. So not only focus on this particular issue. So for example, let's take as an example that customer have issue that he's not able to log into our system with users with where the login names have the upper letters. So the answer and the improvement action, for example, could be very easy from our side. We are not using, we don't have such users. We are only testing with the users with small letters in the login. So the action, for example, could be very easy. So now let's create the users which have also the upper letters and start testing. But let's also try to think more wider. So first, if what with other accepted special characters, if this is possible to create such users, if this should work later, then think also about the passwords, because there could be very similar issue. If our password, when we're creating for the users, also have all accepted characters. But let's also think about all other places in our product. There could be very similar issue. For example, some name of functionality in our applications. If we have tests for such scenarios. So be rather proactive, not reactive, but of course we can connect these two actions. So we can have this very simple test case that will be added to our automation scope, that now users with the upper letters will be used, but we can also add something more. And also, like mentioned before, work together. So not only as a system level testing team, but also let's check first what the actions are done on the lower levels. So for example, to not duplicate work. Maybe there will be not need from the system level testing team to do anything, because there was a real gap was on the lower level, and this will be enough, for example, if we add test case there. So to not waste our resources, to not duplicate each other, let's also synchronize during these EDAs. And the robustness testing and the rainy day scenario. So here generally about the more advanced scenario, not so straightforward scenarios, because this is especially important for the, I think, mature product, where we don't have too many straightforward scenarios. Most of the issues would be some robustness, some corner case scenarios. So this is important that system level testing team should add something like this to our testing scope. And here is some tips how we can increase the number of the testing for such scenarios. So for sure we can add some exploratory sessions and testing days based on the results from the past, but also based on the plans from customers, what will be the most risky areas we see in our scenario. We could have some brainstorming during the planning. This could be planning only, for example, for the system testing level team. So only members of the system level testing team will be part of this brainstorm. But we can also be part of the brainstorming even during the pre-study to think about this unexpected scenario. So could go wrong during the testing, what is unexpected and how our product will behave. But we also need to remember that we should some dedicated activities in backlog. So all these activities, these exploratory sessions, this brainstorming, these testing days, this for sure will require some time from our testers. So let's save their time, reserve their time at the beginning of the planning of sprints to remember that there will be always the time to do these activities. And also considered such negative, such robustness scenarios in the deployment scenarios, because very often the issues are visible there. So for example, we should check something like we are proceeding the upgrade of our product and what will happen if we will have some electrical outage during the procedure. If when the outage will be end, if it will be possible to continue or we should start from the beginning, or even the whole product will be now broken and now we should we will lose everything. So also such scenarios should be checked. And of course we should use customer cases as an input. So we should try to check, for example, what was wrong in the customer in the past. We can check the faults, we can check the outages, we can check with the customer representatives what there was going wrong, and use this scenario, use this end-to-end scenario, because this is very important to have let's say real scenarios, not to invite something let's say which will be unrealistic. Also this exploratory testing session, robustness testing days, some bug hunting sessions should be selected. The areas for this testing should be selected based on the customer cases. And maybe one note, so about the robustness testing, more about this, I also recommend to check the presentation from the Vincent Sinclair from the last year from TestDive. It should be still available on the archive. There is plenty of valuable information about the robustness testing and how we can increase this not only in the system level testing teams. And the last slide, so we should all still continuously looking for the new areas for the improvements, because okay, we could have some best practices, but these best practices will be only for some time. We should always check what is going on in our side, what is going in our customers. So we should monitoring these production faults, monitoring outages, trying to find any common patterns, and from these common patterns, the trends, we should know where should to focus, but also to know what we should adjust in our testing. Similar to our internal faults, so also we should checking if our testing is efficient. So to check if we are testing everything as expected, if our testing brings the results. So here it will be mainly the faults. Still cooperating with the other teams. So continuously checking the idea. Maybe there will be some brilliant idea in the other teams that we should take. We could for example, here create some sync meetings with one representative from each team, and we can always be up to date what is going on in the other teams, and this representative could share this information to for example to their teams, and then they can reuse it. Lessons learned, so always like these EDAs, so try to learn from the mistakes, so the faults from the customers, but also take some retrospectives for testing releases, so we can check what is going well, what is going wrong, what should be continued, what should be cancelled, and so on. And of course, like said before, we should focus on the most risky area. We should check the past, we should check the future, and for example, checking what are the plans of the customer, what are the new features which are coming, checking where are the most faults, so automatically where was the biggest number of the corrections, and select this area as the most risky and put their bigger attention from our side. And also I think I said it a few times that customer focus. So because we are doing everything for the customers, and finally their feedback is the most important. So we should also always be focused on the customers. If we have top customers, so we can select this one, but generally we should try satisfy all of them. And this was my last slide. So thank you a lot for hearing.
All righty, thank you for that really great presentation. And now it's time for our questions and answers. So hopefully everyone still has their Discord channels open and they have been writing down their questions. So let's take a look. We have one question here. How is the coverage measured for each area? Slide with the map in the table format.
Yeah. So for example, in my experience, I've created some formula. So this looks like that I counted how many test cases I had from particular area. So it will require some experiment from your side, because you need to check if this is valuable. So for example, you could add additional point. For example, if for the last period we had exploratory testing, you could add there, for example, 1 point, similar to the testing days. You could add some points, for example, for the pre and the post checks. For example, if we have some specific areas in the deployment scenarios, I've added some additional points for the test cases, or if we had particular area tested in, for example, with load. This was some additional points. At the end, I divided for some number, but I little work with this approach to have, let's say, reasonable values here, and finally get it. So this was example from my experience. So, but if you need more details and how exactly this looks like, for example, in my cases, then you can also ping me later offline. Then we can sync.
Okay, great, thank you. And a follow-up question, I guess, or second part to that question, are some assessment tools used, or is this based on assumption?
I also tried to find any tools, but I didn't find any tools. So this was mainly done from, let's say, experience from the knowledge of our product, our test strategy. So generally I use only Excel. I'm not aware of any tools available on the market for this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I guess another follow-up question. So the metric is based on the defect rate in this area?
No. The coverage is based on the mainly our subjective opinion. So in case of this first coverage matrix, on the last one is based on these formulas. The customer faults are added additionally, so we can compare. So for example, if there will be some opposite between our coverage and the customer fault. So for example, there was this example that we have good coverage, but too many customer issues. And in the coverage, it was green, but from the customer side, it was, let's say, we can say it red. So for sure, this is opposite, and we should check that there is something wrong, for example, in our testing.